Money. The thing you work for, stress about, and somehow never have enough of. But here's what nobody tells you. Most people are playing the game completely blind. Let's start with taxes. You work a full month, 40 hours a week, grinding away. Your paycheck says $2,000. Your bank account? $1,456. Where did $544 go? Federal income tax grabbed some. State tax took a piece. Social Security snatched their cut. Medicare wanted in too. And you're supposed to smile and say thanks for the privilege. Here's the reality. Taxes fund civilization. Road schools, making sure your local diner isn't serving you salmonella. But there's a catch. The IRS already knows exactly how much you owe. They have all your numbers, but they make you guess anyway. Get it right? Great. Get it wrong? You're about to learn what penalties feel like. It's like a game show where the host already knows the answer, but watches you sweat anyway. Income tax hits what you earn. Sales tax hits what you spend. Capital gains tax hits your investments while you sleep. Then there's Social Security, which is basically the government forcing you to save for retirement whether you like it or not. They take your money now, promise to give it back later when you're old. Medicare, that's funding healthcare for seniors and people with serious medical conditions. People pay quarterly, some yearly. Some don't pay at all and end up on Netflix documentaries about tax fraud. But here's the thing, countries with higher taxes generally have better quality of life. Now let's talk about banks. You walk in, hand over your hard-earned cash, watch them count it, and assume it's going into a vault somewhere. Wrong. That money is already gone. Within minutes, most of it is out the door. You deposit $1,000, the bank keeps maybe $100 and loans out the rest to someone buying a jet ski or refinancing their mortgage. People lined up around the block, panicking, trying to withdraw everything. The whole system almost collapsed because banks had loaned out too much and didn't have enough cash on hand. Banks make money by lending your deposits at higher interest rates than they pay you. You're the supply, borrowers are the demand, and the bank is the middleman taking a cut. Why do people even use banks? Convenience. It's easier to swipe a card than carry around stacks of cash. Security. In the US, deposits are insured up to $250,000 per person through the FDIC. If your bank fails, the government guarantees your money up to that limit, and they pay you interest. Not much, but something. Your money sitting in a shoebox under your bed. That's earning zero while inflation slowly eats it alive. Speaking of interest, let's break it down. You borrow $1,000. You pay back $1,280. Why? Interest. It's the cost of borrowing someone else's money. When you're the borrower, interest is the price tag. When you're the lender or saver, it's your reward for patience. There are two types. Simple interest is straightforward. Borrow 100 at 10%, pay back 110. Done. Compound interest, that's the beast. That's when interest starts earning interest. It's exponential. Your debt doesn't grow in a straight line, it curves upward like a hockey stick. Miss a payment on a credit card charging 20% interest? That $12 burrito you charged last month? In a year, with compound interest and fees, that's a $50 regret. But here's the flip side. Compound interest in investing is magic. Put $100 in account earning 7% annually. First year, you have 107. Second year, you earn interest on 107, not just 100. Year 10, you've got nearly 200. Year 30, almost 800. You didn't do anything. You just let time and compound interest do the work. This is why credit card debt is a killer and index funds are wealth builders. Same mechanism, opposite outcome. If you're paying interest, destroy that debt fast. Every extra dollar you throw at it saves you multiples later. If you're earning interest, don't touch it. Let it compound. Feed it. Give it decades. Let it compound. Feed it. Give it decades. You check the receipt. 30% more expensive than last year. You've been hit by inflation. Inflation means your money buys less over time. That $5 bill is still $5, but it gets you fewer groceries. Less gas, less everything. Your money's value is eroding. What causes inflation? Sometimes there's too much money chasing too few goods. Everyone has cash and wants the same $500 TV, but there are only 1,000 TVs and 2,000 buyers. So the store raises the price to $800. Boom, inflation. Other times supply chains break, production costs rise. Companies pass those costs to consumers, and sometimes it's expectations. If people think prices will rise, they spend now instead of later, which drives prices up faster. It's a self-fulfilling. Little inflation is normal. 2% a year? That's healthy. It encourages spending and investing instead of hoarding cash. But when inflation spikes to 5, 8, 10%, saving evaporate. Wages can't keep up. Your paycheck buys less every month. The Federal Reserve fights high inflation by raising interest rates. Higher rates mean borrowing costs more. People and businesses spend less, demand cools, prices stabilize, but it also slows the economy. Which brings us to recessions. A recession is when the economy shrinks for at least 2 consecutive quarters, 6 months of contraction. Companies lay off workers. Stock markets tumble. Everyone tightens their belts, cutting back on everything except necessities. Why does this happen? High interest rates can choke off growth. Could be a global crisis, war, pandemic, rogue container. Could just be the natural economic cycle doing what it does best. Boom, peak, bust, reset. Think of the economy as a party. In the boom phase, everyone's dancing, drinks are flowing, but eventually the lights flicker. Reality hits. Someone checks their bank account.
Recessions aren't forever. They're resets, painful ones.
Governments might lower interest rates, send out stimulus, or just hope people start buying overpriced coffee again. Eventually, spending returns, businesses rebuild growth resumes, but not without scars. Let's talk credit scores. A credit score is a shadowy algorithm that knows your name, your past. A car or a soul-crushing 27% interest rate on your new TV. This number isn't about wealth, it's about trust. Lenders want to know, if I give this person money, will they actually pay me back? The score has a range from 300 to 850. Below 580, you're a walking red flag. Over 750, you're sparkling with adult credibility. Most people stuck somewhere between 640 and 790. How is a credit score calculated? Payment history. Do you pay on time? This is the big one. Credit utilization. How much credit are you using versus how much you could? Credit age. How long you've had accounts. Credit mix. Cards, loans, mortgages. Already helps. New credit. All of these things are the ways it is calculated, but to actually increase your score, you have to make the required payment on each of your loans before you enter the late period. If you enter the late period, your score decreases. Your credit score is like a pet dog. Ignore it and it poops all over your life. Take care of it and someday it might help you buy a house. It's not about being good with money. It's about looking good to lenders. You can have zero debt and still have a trash score if you don't have a credit history. So yes, the game is rigged, but if you learn the rules, you can rig it back. Pay on time, keep balances low, don't close old accounts, and avoid applying for credit constantly. Your score will, and that number will save you thousands. Let's get philosophical for a second. Money isn't real. Seriously, a dollar bill is just paper. Bitcoin is just code. Gold is just a shiny rock. The only reason any of it has value is because we collectively agree it does. Money is a shared hallucination that makes society function. It lets us trade goods and services without bartering chickens for haircuts. It creates systems, economies, civilizations. But there's no inherent difference between a dollar and a stick except our belief. The government prints it, the central banks regulate it, and everyday people trade in exchange for goods and services. The reason the banks have to regulate it is because if the government prints too much, then inflation kicks in and everyone's money becomes monopoly money. If the banks make it so there is too little money, no one can afford to live. Currency or money is a social construct built on a shared belief and trust. So how do you protect yourself from inflation eating your cash? Investing. Investing is what happens when your money stops sitting around and starts working for you. Instead of trading your time for money, you're trading money for more money. But there's risk involved. What can you actually buy? Stocks, tiny ownership slices of companies. If the company grows, your slice becomes more valuable. Bonds. Basically, you loan money to a government or company and they pay you back with interest. Funds. Collections of stocks and bonds so you don't have to play financial games one by one. Real estate. Property you hope someone else pays to live in forever. Of course, there are other things, but they are considered the main ones. Investing isn't about being lucky. It's about being early, diversified, and patient. Most wealthy people didn't win the lottery. They just gave compound growth 30 years to do its thing. And yes, investing comes with risk. Markets go up, markets go down. But the real danger isn't losing money. It's never investing and watching inflation quietly steal your future value. This one is more complex, but everyone should understand it. Imagine you pick up a rock. It's just a rock. Now imagine that rock is shiny and yellow. That's gold. It's rarer than an average, so there's a higher value placed on it. Gold is not actually worth more than the average rock. It's just worth more to humans because we place a higher value on it. Understanding this is what allows people to become rich. If you provide a lot of value, you will earn a lot of money. Steve Jobs created the iPhone you're most likely watching this on right now. He created something with a large amount of value. So millions of people gave him thousands of dollars for that bit of value. It's the same reason that doctors and lawyers earn so much money. The value they provide is large and people are willing to pay a large amount. So people are willing to pay 100 times more for a Gucci bag, not because the bag is 100 times better, but because they perceive it as more valuable. It's all about perception. If you can figure out how to create value, even if it's not real value, you can make a lot of money. Time. Time is the most valuable asset in the world. And the best part, almost everyone starts with a lot of their time worth millions. And the difference isn't magic. It's skills, leverage, and how well you've trained your hours to work for you. But nowhere does time work harder than in investing. There is no greater force in wealth building. Not luck, not income, time, because wealth isn't built in days, it's built in decades. Money that sits quietly in investment doesn't just grow, it multiplies. Slowly at first, then faster. That's why ordinary people with modest paychecks can retire with 7 figures. They didn't beat the system, they used the system. A little money invested consistently given enough time becomes a lot of money. If you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Understanding money is the first step to mastering it. Start investing early, pay down high-interest debt, build your credit, understand value, respect time. The game isn't rigged against you. You just weren't given the instruction manual until now.